Good morning. It is Thursday, July 6th. I'm on my way to a system with a failed compressor. The compressor has stopped compressing, it's not cooling, and rather than just replace the compressor, the homeowner wants to replace the whole outdoor unit. I believe it's currently a Luxaire, and we'll be putting in an OxBox. It's a 5-ton system with not enough airflow, so we're going to be addressing that too. They put in a bypass between the supply and return ducts, and we're going to be removing that. And I will also be testing the system for acid in the compressor, so hopefully you enjoy watching. Okay, so here's our system. Sounds like the contactor kicked off, but I did turn it on because I'm going to do this acid test, which you just press in the suction side service port for 2 seconds and let the refrigerant flow through with the oil, but it has to be running while you do that. And then you check this paper, and if it changes color, then you have acid present. If it doesn't change color, then you don't have acid. But look at this coil here. I don't recall seeing that when I was here last, where it's actually chunks of it are missing right here. That's very odd. But yeah, I'll kick it on and I'll check for the acid presence. Okay, so I had it running. I pulled the disconnect because it sounded so bad, but you can see I'm covered in oil. I let it flow across for 2 seconds. The indicator does not change color, which it hasn't, and that means there is no acid. So thankfully, we are acid free on this. Another thing is this system, I believe, was low on refrigerant when I was here last. So hopefully that leak is not in the evaporator coil. If it's in the condenser, then just replacing the condenser is going to fix that problem. So I'm hoping for that. And hopefully Peter gets here soon enough. I'm going to start the recovery process, which is straightforward enough. Okay, so I have my manifold hooked up to the system. The charging port hooked up to the suction of the recovery machine, discharge going into the recovery machine with a scale. It's zeroed out, 0. And I already purged the hose, so I know I should have a filter dryer. I keep meaning to get a filter dryer for the R410A. I have one that I've been using for R22, and I don't want to mix that with the R410A one, so have it hooked up. Gonna hit recover and press start. That didn't sound too great, but yeah, we'll make sure that we recover everything just fine, and then we can cut it out. And I'm probably gonna neaten up the line set, depending on what I can do, if I can work with it or not. If I'm gonna have to cut it, we'll see. Okay, so here is that nice big 24 by 24 return filter, which we will be putting a 18-inch takeoff on. And here is our unit, and it's so odd that that's the way they did it, but you can see here they have a bypass from the supply through to the return, and we don't have a big enough return plenum, so we're gonna have to cut this out, take it off, figure out what size we need to get, and we'll have to get another plenum so that we can mount our new return duct on for that return filter grill and use the existing one because that one goes downstairs. And we want to keep that one that's pulling from downstairs, especially because this is 5 tons. We want to keep as much as we can. So that stinks. Okay, I ripped off that 20-inch flex. There's plenty of it. And we'll get a new 20-inch takeoff. And we're gonna have to get a new box. So I'm gonna kind of make that Peter's mission to get all that put together. Let's see, we got a 20 by 20 box here. And let's see, we got over an inch on that side, over an inch on that side. We're gonna go with hopefully 20 by 22 if we can, so it fits the unit a little bit better. Also gonna clean out this coil because we have full access to it. Might as well just spray some cleaner on it to keep it clean preventatively. You can see it has a little bit of film, a dusty film on it, so and then we'll eliminate that duct that was coming in here and crossing over. But with this all opened up, we have some nice airflow, kind of cooled down the attic a little bit. And Peter just got here with our unit, OxBox 5 ton, and this should be a box of 18-inch flex. And how many? We got 2 18-inch takeoffs. You bought that or they gave it to you?
It was with the order.
Okay. Yeah, the last OxBox we got didn't come with a filter dryer, but we got one now. Okay, so I got everything disconnected off our unit, and that is where I decided to cut. I brought line set, so I'm gonna remake some of those bends a little bit nicer. I think I need to level out this pad a little bit more, and then we can get that new unit on there, which is much smaller footprint than this unit, which is one nice thing about the OxBoxes. I don't see very many of them. They look almost identical to the Bosch IDS 2.0, at least on the outside. But there's plenty of room here to work. There's plenty of room here to work, which is amazing. And then inside the electrical compartment, there's also plenty of room. Like, you could do whatever you want. You could put in like a soft start or a hard start or whatever. It's just nice to have that. But yeah, hopefully I can get the unit then a little bit closer off, a little bit farther off the side of the house, and some neater bends. Because you can see this bend here kind of almost put a kink in it, and it just looks sloppy, so I'll get the bender out for it. Okay, so I cleaned it up. I cleaned up underneath too, for whatever that's worth, but used some of the bricks. There were already some bricks under there already, and I just lined it across so it has some stability, and it's nice, and it should be nice and level. We'll see what it does when we put the unit on it, it was tough. They're just so big, it's hard to maneuver them and be able to pivot it onto the hand truck, but Peter's out going to get stuff, so just getting everything done. I'd like to be in and out because it's hot. It's getting super hot. Okay, so we're nice and level, or at least near perfectly level, and it's pretty solid on there. It's not really moving much at all, and we have plenty of room for this unit to breathe off the house and off the other unit. I kind of was leaning towards putting it all the way towards this corner, but I want it to look neat, so I'm just centering it to the actual pad itself, and hopefully we can replace this one with a unit that's small too, and then they could both really breathe really well. But I'm gonna get my bends all figured out. Should be nice and simple. Come down, come over, 90, 45, same with the 3/8. And I'm going to take a peek upstairs, see if there is a filter dryer up there, because that's where the filter dryer will be going, is upstairs. Okay, I got my Hillmore, my compact swage kit and my tubing bender. Peter brought the brazing rig over. Peter just got here, and I'm gonna work on bending the 7/8 because that's the most difficult one. The 3/8 will be nice and easy. Okay, so here's my bend, straight down from the wall, a 90, and a 45 into the unit. Peter is working on that return box, which he's pretty much almost done with that. He'll tape it up nice and neat. But I recently got this swaging tool, which is amazing. It comes with 7/8, 3/4, 5/8, 1/2 inch, and 3/8 with the deburring tool. And that little light right there, that green light, it came with that too for free. It's my favorite light ever that I've ever used. But when you cut, if you don't deburr, you'll get a little bit of a lip, and I didn't deburr this. This has a little lip on it, and I don't know if this is the purpose of it.
Here's what I found.
But shut up, Siri. Here, I use that little lip, and I get it in there first, and it kind of expands that lip out of the way. Then I could drop my swager in, and you just pump and pump and pump. Let's see, we're making a swage. Okay, and once it gets really, really hard, it can't go anymore. Push this to release, take it out, and yeah, it has some indents in it, but it's really, really a nice swage, and it's nice every single time. You could see the indents, but it's nowhere near splitting anywhere or anything like that. It's just dented, and that is what it is. I don't care if there is a dent in it, that doesn't matter to me. So I'll line this up right here, which is tricky to do one-handed. Let's see, let's go. Yeah, I need both hands. Okay, so I got that in. I'm going to pull schraders, hook up nitrogen and everything, and I'll braze it. But before I make the final connection, I'll make sure to slip the insulation over. That way it's nice and insulated. And I'll work on the 3/8 as well. It's just easier to get one brazed in and then work on the next, rather than try to juggle having two disconnected pipes moving around on you. So I'll get done with that. And when it's a brand new install like this, I use my little Klein thermostat screwdriver to pull the schraders. It has that little schrader attachment. I love this screwdriver. And now in my description for my videos, I have a link to an Amazon shopping list, which has all of the tools that I keep in my bag in it, even down to these crescent wrenches, which I love, snips, and everything else in the bag. So if you want anything, any of the tools that I'm using, you can check that link out, and I make a little bit of a commission off of it as well. But I'm gonna get some wet rag on this, hook up this nitrogen for purging. This nitrogen's running empty, so it's perfect for purging. I can swap out to the other nitrogen tank when I pressure test, because I do have 3 tanks, a big one and 2 of these smaller ones. And then for my brazing rig, I have, which I will also put in my shopping list, which I don't think I've done yet, this super, super tiny rig with these super lightweight, super flexible, super durable hoses that you can actually change the lengths of. And I love this. It has all the different tips that you would need. Let's see. I like to use the rosebud tip. That's what I've been using for a while. And it just goes on right there like that. And you can hand thread this connection in. And there's a few layers of O-rings, so you don't have to worry about any leaks. I love this. It is the best brazing rig ever. Gentech model 10CM. It's amazing. Okay, so I got one braze done there. And we are flowing nitrogen through that section side that I just brazed in, and got this one done there. I did have to try to pack a little in up top because of a gap. But we got that nice and connected. Now we can work on my 3/8 and connect it up there, and we should be good to go. For the 3/8 line. I want to try something that we haven't done yet before. Let me just grab my bender. It is a Yellow Jacket tubing bender for smaller 1/4 inch, 3/8, those sizes. And this is a 3/8 line set straightener. That is all it does. That's the sole purpose of it. So we're gonna try it out. Peter, you're gonna help me straighten the line set with this. Okay, so here is that line set straightener tool and our line set. Just slide it on and pull it. And come back to me. And back again. And that's it. Now we have almost perfectly straight line set. Not perfectly perfect, that's pretty good. And now we can put some bends on it. Okay, so I got that one brazed in, and this one brazed in. I gotta like neaten it all, pull it all in. I had it pulled away so I could braze, but we got a 90 there, 45 here, a 90 here, and a little bit of an offset there just to bring it up to the same level. And once we pull it all in and get it attached, it'll look nice and neat. But I'm gonna run inside and we gotta do the filter dryer. Okay, so we got our filter dryer raised in, pointing into the air handler. I looked all along the run of line set going down the attic and I don't see a filter dryer anywhere. I didn't check to see if there's one built into the condenser. There probably is, or maybe there's not and they just never had a filter dryer. But pressure test and hopefully there's no leaks. Okay, so that 20-inch takeoff is put onto this new box. Peter's taping it to make sure it stays nice and sealed and secure. We've never worked with one like this where it bends over, but it was in the attic. I figured we'd use it rather than buy a 20-inch because there's not even enough room to get the flange on there for the self-stick. And then we'll cut out the 18-inch hole for our new one. And I will pressurize this line set. I'm gonna actually run some nitrogen through just at a higher pressure just to kind of get anything out. That way our vacuum will pull better. Okay, so we got our pressure test hooked up with our suction line temperature clamp put on there. It'll sense any temperature changes in the lines, which will compensate for any pressure difference. Because when you pressurize with high pressure, it'll heat up the lines. And anytime you put pressure into something, it'll heat up what it's put into. So we'll see how it holds up, and hopefully there's no leaks. I'm really hoping there's no leaks. Okay, and Peter is marking out that 18-inch circle that we're gonna have to cut out to put a takeoff on the return plenum. Got everything up here, and we gotta remove this one. And I did bring up the evaporator coil cleaner. I'm gonna pull out that insulation and give it a heavy spray down. Okay, so I'm about to take off this return plenum. I sprayed the coil down with the fan off and I turned the fan back on. This is literally only connected by tape and 2 screws. So that's nuts. But there's a huge gap here, a huge gap here, and it's not even connected on the bottom. So this is pretty crazy. The one that we got should fit perfectly. If not, it'll be much closer than this is. Looks like we have another screw somewhere.
I think it's top right. Clear over here.
Yeah, I can't get that. We'll get this. anywhere. It's magnetic and it pivots. But let's see how this works. Edge. Yeah, we line up perfectly. Awesome. Okay. You want to shut the camera off and we'll get this thing connected? Okay, so we have been running this test now for 21 minutes. And our pressure differential is positive 1.1 because the temperature of the line set has dropped to a significant enough amount that it thinks that the pressure should actually be a little bit lower. So I am very, very confident that we don't have a leak. I'm gonna hook up the vacuum while Peter connects some of the ductwork upstairs, and then I'll come back up there to help him. Okay, so I have the field piece is a 6 CFM vacuum pump. And this morning I thoroughly actually cleaned it really well. I changed the oil, made sure these were nice and cleaned out, drained out, just so I know everything's running well. I have everything nice and secure. The HVAC Tools True Blue hose kit with the Schrader core removals, that way I can put the Schraders back in afterwards, and the Blue Vac Plus Pro micron gauge. We'll make sure we start it with our gas ballast open. Gotta hook up power. Have my extension cord right here. And got that light turning on. I got it on this pad to keep it as level as possible. You can see it dips a little bit, but it's okay. And we'll turn it on. And I know some people are gonna say, oh, well, you're not really reading true vacuum because we're pulling off there as well. But I will close off that port and let it settle out so I know what my actual vacuum is. And we'll also be performing a decay test, which will be isolating both hoses, which will allow the vacuum to equalize and see how much it rises or breaks. And I just sat here for a little bit waiting for it to get below 1500 microns, and I closed off the gas ballast. So now I'll go give Peter a hand. Okay, so let me just walk around this mess of an attic. Here's what we've done. We've got our flex. Tried to follow this duct. We'll neaten it up a little bit, but going into our return box. And now we've got a first floor return and a second floor return, and plenty of airflow for all 5 tons without needing to do some stupid bypass to make it work. And we'll eliminate this bypass. We'll close the damper, we'll cut the duct short, and we'll just fold the duct over on itself and seal it. Okay, so we're at 438, and I'm gonna go ahead and break it with nitrogen and start over, and maybe do that a couple of times. There's a lot of oil in this line set, so I'm sure that's interfering with being able to pull down good. Hopefully there's no moisture, there may be a little bit, but the nitrogen should be able to take care of that. Okay, so I have the vacuum closed off, it's isolated, and I'm flowing nitrogen in the high side, out the low side, and right out from where the micron gauge was. And I'll let that flow for a little bit. Just flowing at 400 PSI, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. I'm just getting it, just purging everything through with the nitrogen to push anything out. Peter was wearing his PPE when he was using the grinder. I'm impressed. Okay, while it's vacuuming, we just loaded the condenser into the truck, and look how big this condenser is. It's like the size of a rooftop unit. Fills up almost the whole bed. Pipe doctor. Okay, so we did pass decay test, but I'm letting it go again. I want to get it pulled down really, really low. After the decay, we're at about 310, so I just want it to pull down as low as possible, as dry as possible. It had no acid in it before. I don't want to create acid in it now, so once we get it down really low, we'll release the charge, and then we could cycle it on in cooling. I am exhausted though, it's so hot. We pretty much cleaned up everything for the most part except what we're using, and Peter went to go take everything back to the shop to dump the garbage and pick up our paychecks too. But yeah, and then I have to hook up electrical as well, but that's simple, that's straightforward. I just don't want to interrupt the vacuum hoses trying to do that, so. Okay, so I think everything's running now, so it's really loud, but 2 pounds, 15 out, 3 pounds pretty much. And here are where my pressures are hovering around. Now outside it's about 85 degrees, a little bit cooler, but we'll go to the 85 degrees. And our suction pressure is at around 115. So we're looking at around 320 on our high side. At least that's what it's asking for. So we'll see how it runs for now. It looks like, actually, yeah, we're going to be adding a tiny bit more. I'll add another few ounces and see how it runs. Okay, I'm about to disconnect everything now. Our pressures are staying about right where we want them to be. And we're cooling with 55 degree supply air, 74 degree return air. So a 19 degree temperature split. And we took a total of 3 pounds and 5 ounces. So I'm going to disconnect everything, neaten everything up, and fill out the invoice, and we should be good to go. Okay, so we're all finished up out here. I think it came out very nice. I know a lot of people hate the zip ties. They say it looks like sausages. I think it looks nice. And finished it off with the Pipe Doctor sticker. And I love how much smaller it is than these garbage Luxaire units. So hopefully we'll replace those two next, but now they have a nice system that's cooling really well. And now I collect money. So we finished up with that. Pretty exhausted. Peter took care of the garbage, so I'm on my way to my next AC call, which is, I think, AC leaking in attic and AC maintenance. So hopefully that's nice and simple. Hopefully you enjoyed watching. Leave any advice, criticisms, or feedback in the comment section, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.